Bitcoin and crypto are starting to heat up as talks between the United States and China are heating up. But that's good, though, for us, because it has to do with hopefully getting this tariff stuff done. A Ripple partner invests in Circle. Interesting. We'll talk price action as some of our favorites are heating up, along with...
I say lots of naughty things, so here's your warning.
That's right, BTC's hitting some optimism right now, along with the rest of the crypto market. XRP might be leaving the friend zone and going into the hot zone. Meanwhile, Greta says, ditch the phones. Publicity stunt?
How dare you?
Well, fuck off, girl. I was backing you up, and now I'm not anymore. But before we get into the crypto news, we deal with your comments. Why? Because you, the viewer, matter most. Casey Fan, this is on Twitter, by the way. Yeah, I'm going to start pulling comments from Twitter. My info's linked down below. Says, thank you, Klaus. Your show is without a doubt the best. It's fast, full of facts, and to the point. Unlike some giant green dudes that only have to cough too much. Complain about YouTube. Talk too much about listeners. You are direct, factual, and quick to the point. Thank you. Well, I appreciate it. Yeah. Follow me on Twitter. I was talking shit about Andrew Vaughn and how much he sucks ass and people sucking on his nuts. Jason Hutchinson says, Klaus is better than the post office is so true. That's because I bring you the news 7 days a week. Just saying. I've been working there for decades. He's talking about the post office. Thank you, postal workers. Now I'm still laughing. Thank you for a great start to my week. News with you is the best. Ooh, Shane Wilkins dropping support on the channel says thank you. Well, you're welcome, and thank you for the support of the channel. One more to round it out, and then we'll get into crypto news. Silly Sam hanging out with us in South Africa. Nice. Says, thanks for being real, Klaus. Good, bad, happy, or sad. You're the man. Choo, biz nachos. Bitcoin sitting at 108,168 ETH is fuck. Who cares? We'll get to price at the end because we got to talk XLM. We got to talk XRPY. It's got to deal with the NASDAQ, baby. But first, Circle, look at that. Early morning trading had that bad boy up to 138. Now down to 114. I'm going to bring up Circle for a reason, though. You'll see why it has to do with the Ripple partner here. But first, BTC surges to 108,000 as U.S. and Chinese officials meet to discuss tariffs. The bump comes as investors express optimism about the potential resolution for trade disputes between the United States and China. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and China's Vice Premier for Economic Policy, He Lifeng, will lead the respective delegations in negotiations that are expected to begin on Monday and continue through Tuesday. Look, if we get some big, juicy news in regards to tariffs, holy crap, the markets will absolutely roar. That is the biggest thing holding us back right now, is the tariff battle between the United States and China. So, as I get updates, I'll pass them on to you. Remember, the talks go through Tuesday too, so be ready. Okay, you want some XLM XRP news? Here we go. NASDAQ Crypto Index adds XRP, Sol, ADA, and XLM as the SEC reviews the hashtag's ETF request. Okay. NASDAQ has formally submitted a rule change proposal to the SEC to add 4 new cryptos to its flagship index, the NCI. Bringing this up because El Loran channel member, thank you for your support, asked a question about this. Well, they have it listed in terms of their price group. Now they're actually going to add it to it. Filed on June 2nd, the proposal seeks to align the holdings of the hashtag's NASDAQ Crypto Index. Say that 5 times fast. With the broader index, this expanded version of the NCI already includes 4 altcoins, but it's not yet reflected in the ETF's underlying assets. Here's the key, though, and I think this is where we all get pissed off. Okay, remember, I bring you news, good, bad, happy, or sad, so sometimes there's some shit that I gotta bring you. The SEC is reviewing the proposal under Rule 19b-4 and is expected to deliver a decision by November 2nd. Ugh. Nothing gets done in the government. It doesn't matter if it's a Biden government, a Trump government, a, what's that lady, Hillary government. It doesn't matter. Obama government. Nothing moves fast. November 2nd. Here we are, June 9th. By the way, June 9th is probably the best day of the year. Why? Because it's 69. Yeah, you have to go with like the United States calendar. June being the 6th month and the 9th day, 60-fucking-9. Ripple's ally, SBI Holdings, invests $50 million in Circle IPO. Whoa, what's going on here, Klaus? Well, what's going on is the Circle IPO is hot. I bring you news from all over the place. It doesn't matter if it's direct native token news like XRP Xlm HBAR stuff, BTC news. I bring you ETF stuff. I bring you macro stuff. I brought you the IPO news, and a bunch you got in the IPO, and they're like, bro, we made a bunch of money on this. Thank you. Well, you're welcome for watching the channel, but let's keep learning. The investment worth $50 million was split equally with both SBI Holdings and SBI Shinsei Bank, contributing $25 million. This move follows the launch of Circle SBI Japan KK, a joint venture formed in March of 2025 to push the adoption and circulation of USDT in the Japanese market. So you got a Ripple partner now investing big money in Circle through their Circle stocks. Nice. The recent announcement revealed in a press release today shows the growing alliance between SBI Group and Circle, which began with a business agreement in 2023. Here is the release here. They talk about it. Pretty interesting stuff. You're seeing that all throughout the globe. Players are getting into this whole stablecoin thing. Now, I know a bunch out there, but bro, how do you make money on stables? You get it from the yield. All right? You get it from the yield. Bro, stables are boring. If stables are boring, why was this thing predicted first to be at $24 to $26 and it got to a high of 138 this morning? Stables aren't boring. They're just, how do I put this? They're just not painted in the right light. People see like the dollar, you know, the one-to-one pegging type stuff where it's pegged to the dollar, and they think, oh, well, this is boring. There's no juice there. No, dude, there's juice. You just got to follow the products that make you the money on it. That's why I shared with you the Circle IPO. Now, broader crypto market, let's take a look, dudes and chicks and blue-haired giraffes. We're up 22% in the volume to $106 billion. Altcoin season, it's not bad. It's 28 out of 100. The reality is we need something juicy out of the alts. Where is that going to come from? It's going to come from crypto regs. The debate on that starts tomorrow. I'll keep you informed on that. BTC, though, is moving, and we're going to pay big attention to that because we know how BTC tugs the market. Watch when I go to the candlesticks in here, okay? We're going to go to the 15-minute. Now, look at this move that's happening, all right? This is recent news. This is happening, and look at the volume correlation with that. Earlier this morning, I showed you that the volume was very heavy with the alts, but BTC wasn't there. Now you're starting to see the BTC volume grow. BTC's volume up 28%, definitely reflecting the move. This is based on optimism between the United States and China. So as we get more juice coming from that, BTC is going to keep pumping up. As BTC pumps up, it's going to take some of our favorites with it. Now, recently we talked about ICP moving, XRP making its move. Look, you really want action to happen. We need the trade talks to happen. Now, let's move it on over to XLM price, where volume right now is, come on, computer screen, there you go, up 4% for XLM at 167 million. I've got the 1 month chart up on here where you can kind of see a little less support for XLM, right? I mean, it's just the chart is not as juicy. XLM struggled to kind of work at that 30-cent mark. In fact, a lot of times we've seen XLM struggling on the south side of 30 cents, but remember, Stellar's focused on building, and with building, hopefully comes what? Usage, everyone. Let's take a look at those candlesticks and see if there's anything cool hopping out here. This is since the move of November. Remember, XLM's biggest move has been what? The optimism of a changing regime in the United States when it comes to being El Presidente. XLM before that move was floating around that 10-cent mark, got way up here to a high of 63 cents, but look, nowhere near that. In fact, since March, it's been a struggle to maintain that 30-cent mark. So about 50%, a little bit less than that from the maximum move. Now, market optimism was the highest in November and December for XLM. It's a little bit different with XRP. By the way, volume up 12% to 2.63 billion. Let's go to those candlesticks. We're going to see what I'm saying here. The time frame for XP is a little bit different. December optimism, then check it out. January optimism, and then we had a little bit of March optimism right here too. Yeah, you see what I'm saying? So the charts look a little bit different. You kind of see the time frame. See, XLM had the initial push and has since kind of struggled on the downtrend. XRP has been a little bit more sideways since then. So this is a very different story between the two. This talks to you about the strength of the retail market of XRP versus XLM, the ecosystem strength. and the institutional favorship between the two. Now, XRP, let's be honest, let's go to that 15-minute candlestick. This is what we're talking about. Breaking through this blob right here that we dealt with on the 8th of June. Breaking through that 229, 228 cent mark. That's this candlestick right here. Did it in one 15-minute swoop. This is a 50-minute candlestick variant up on the screen. Now, that being said, though, was stopped at 231.37. The move is just happening. As you can see, this move is just happening. That's how recent I bring you the news. So make sure you hit that notification bell so you don't miss out. I'm going to be following this move because I want to see if it keeps following the trend of BTC. And if we're lucky enough to get BTC to maybe start touching that 110,000 mark, that would be kind of nice. We know it can happen if we get some sort of agreement, and we don't need a full agreement between the United States and China. We just need even some partial agreements to make this happen, to get these cryptos to roar. And remember, tomorrow we got a little SEC roundtable. That's not going to help the price. That's more just for information. You've got stablecoin bill debates going on. You've also got the Clarity Act regs for the rest of crypto going on as well, which would be great for the altcoin market. So help us out, United States and China. If Scott Besson says something, I'll bring it on to you. But right now, we're starting to move. We're starting to thaw. And in fact, let's go to that 15-minute for XLM so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. See what I mean? Candlesticks are moving, everyone. This news is breaking right now. Oh, Greta, you publicity-seeking skank out there with all of your shenanigans. Throw the phones over the boat. Throw the phones. I don't have the accent, the Swedish accent. I don't have that. But for real, I don't want to get on that. It's a Twitter thing. See, that's why you got to follow us on Twitter, because we've been talking Greta on Twitter. You would know, a little inside track. In terms of what's going on, though, with BTC starting to move and taking the alts with it, hey, I'm cool with it. I've got the green in my background for optimism. Why? Because I want something cool to happen this week. We've been stuck in the friend zone for too long, and to be honest with you, XLM holders have been stuck like in that 30 cent, sub 30 cent zone for way too long. Now, isn't it interesting, though? You compare that XRP and XLM chart, and you can see a very big difference between the two in terms of when they had their peaks and what the trend has looked like since. XLM, since its early peaks, has kind of worked its way on down. XRP has had its peaks, but then has maintained that sideways level since. So very different between the two, and also volume heavily leaning towards the XRP side. XRP is doing a much better job holding on to its value. It's got a much bigger community, right? A much bigger institutional support, and there's a lot bigger news cycle regarding it, so it just makes sense. Now, that being said, please, Scott Besson, give us some good news. Greta, you threw your phone over the side of the boat, so, I mean, like, how are you going to respond to my Snapchats? Just saying. Choo-choo what? Choo-choo biz nacho.